Morning, bastards. It's your boy, Si, aka the Mancunian. Where have I been? I've been hiding, people. Sorry I've not been very active. I've just not felt like bothering. I'm just sick of us at the minute. Really bored of watching us. And it's starting to feel like the last few years already. Really disappointed. Really disappointed. And I'm struggling to contain it a little bit. Another reason why I've not been online much. I mean, I've been away for a couple of weeks. I needed a break after what went on with my mum, and then I looked after the foster kids for a week, doing a bit of respite care, and that was pretty stressful. So I just wanted to get away for a couple of weeks. So that's what I've done. Coming back, recharge my batteries a little bit. Still not had a haircut, but I just couldn't be bothered. Yeah, let's crack on with it. Welcome to GunnerTalk. Let's go. Right. I mean, the last few games, take the Not Forest game out of the equation. Let's have a look at those last few games. They've just not been very good, have they? People were calling him out for not having real identity to his play, Unai. And I was a big fan of him, and I'm starting to really wane in confidence with him. I really am. That game last night, look at Man United. My mate sent me a text yesterday morning saying, remember when this game was, we'd be texting each other like, right, you're getting it tonight. But, there was all that bravado and all the, it went on for days between us and Man United and me and especially Manc mates. And there's just none of it now. We're all, I watched it with a few Man United fans last night in the Man United end, and they're as bad as we are at the minute, if not worse. As a fan base, negative, no real reason to be positive, very similar to us. I think we do have some reasons to be positive, but I'm really struggling with the manager at the moment. And I said to my mate last night, I feel very much like how I do with England under Southgate, which is that he's being given the tools to succeed. It's him getting in the way. It's him that I don't believe is good enough. England now have the best young crop of players that I've ever known in my lifetime, and I'm sure in most people's lifetimes. The pool of players to pick from is ridiculous, and he's just not very good. I don't believe he's the right manager, and I feel, you alright, Jose? Hello, kid. And I feel very much the same about Unai. I'm just not sure about him now. I'm really not. That game last night for me, that was a chance to take it to Man United. I said to my mate last night, he said, what do you think? And I said, we should be beating you tonight, and he agreed with me. We should have been beating them last night, and we set up for me to just come away with a draw. Created really nothing. It was hard to find positives out of that game last night. It really was. But let's crack on. Let's talk about the play. I just want to get away from Unai because I'm just not feeling him at the minute. I really am not. People can say, well, he's not got his first team yet at the minute. He's not got his first team, and I'm on board with that. I will not 100% criticise him until everybody's back, and then there is really no excuses. But the decisions he's making with what he's got at the moment aren't very good, and it's really leading me to question. Somebody said to me this morning, Si, what do you think's improved since he's turned up? And all I could think of was his English, and that was being ruthless. But I'm struggling, I really am. It's tough. Because I really thought he'd steady the ship, and we'd start to look like a side that know what they're doing, and we don't look anything like that. We look like a proper hodgepodge mishmash of just players getting chucked in here, there and everywhere. And you can say, well, there's no real cohesion because of he's bringing in youth players, he's bringing in new players. It's it's got to take time to settle. I don't really care. We're just not creating enough. They said last night that game is the longest in a Premier League game so far this season before a chance was created on goal. And like I say, just really devoid of talent, or not devoid of talent. There's plenty of talented players on the pitch, but they're not producing it at the moment, or they are producing it in very few numbers. There's a few people pulling the way. The rest I'm not convinced by. Let's crack on. Let's talk about the players. Leno. Another game where I end up feeling really sorry for him because he had no chance with the goal. Apart from that, he did everything brilliantly in my opinion. Strong in the air, commanding of his box, made some really good saves, especially from that Rashford free kick. He gets an 8 for me because I don't feel he did anything wrong at all. Harsh that he's not getting a clean sheet because I feel like we should have got one against them because they were like us, they created next to nothing. It's an 8 for Leno. Chambers at right back. I've got a chuckle just because when I said Chambers should be playing right back instead of Maitland-Niles at the start of the season, the amount of you that hammered me saying he's not a right back anymore, he's not a right back. And I said, he's not. I'd rather see him at central defensive midfielder. But as far as right backs we've got that are fit, he's the best one. And he's showing it. And now a load of you are going, well, we can only play Chambers now at right back until Bellerin's fit. Honestly, like I keep saying, I'm living in 2020 while the rest of you are living in 2015. If you watch some of my videos from a year ago, I was saying the same thing, and some of you are finally catching up with it. It's embarrassing, it really is for me. It's just basic, obvious stuff. And he looks more settled than Ainsley there, because Ainsley's not a right back. How many videos have I said that in? It's no surprise to me that an actual defender is better at defending than a midfielder. It's no shock to me. And Callum looked all right there. I was surprised pace-wise that I thought James might have him on toast for most of the game, but he didn't. He did really well and used his physicality to win the ball rather than getting in a foot race with him, which I enjoyed. And he gets a 7 for me last night. Didn't do a ton wrong, didn't do anything particularly great. He was just solid. And I don't know where his future lies at the club, but he should have one. Because he's got more about him for me than quite a few of the other players that are in the side, but I don't want to get drawn into that. Socrates, he gets a 7. I thought he was decent without being spectacular, didn't really do a ton wrong. He's not someone though this season for me that looks as though he can be depended on as much as last year. I don't know, there's just something eating away at me with him this year that I'm just not convinced by him anymore. I don't know, but he gets a 7. He was solid last night. Louise, he gets a 7.5. I thought he was just that little bit better. I thought he had a really good game last night. Just that one where Pereira skipped past him right on the edge of the box, and it was exactly how he gave away the penalty against Brighton? I can't think who it was. Was it Brighton or Burnley? We've not played Brighton, have we? Burnley, I think it was, where he just got caught square-footed on the edge of the box and he tripped him up, and he nearly did the exact same last night on that chance, but he realised and sort of stepped back that he was going to do it. So at least he's not completely oblivious to making the same mistakes over and over. But yeah, I thought he was decent last night, and I think he's sort of Socrates Mark II, where he's another older head that won't be brilliant every game, but does bring some stability to the side, definitely. Getting to Klasniak at left back, I thought that was one of his better games. He didn't stand out for me, and he was starting to as someone that you just go in liability. You guys know I said I'd keep him over Monreal, which has happened. It's a shame Turney couldn't have played last night, but he didn't. We played Kolasinac, and I thought he was all right. He gets a 7. It was further afield to me where the problems were. The only issue I've got with the defence at the moment is still the same thing, that ball over the top or in between the channels, down the lines. We're just oblivious to it still, really oblivious to it. And that's coaching for me. I thought this when, going back to Unai, when Unai came in with Juan and the other back room, and you're going, right, and you can see him pointing and shouting on the training pitch, you're going, right, this is it. And just we're still not convincing. Every team we come up against, they score, and that's piss poor. Look at Watford, how bad they've been this year, and we're the only team that's made them look half decent. That result for me was really embarrassing, really embarrassing. More embarrassing than my hair at the minute, I've got to admit. Well, I don't know, that's a close run thing, both are just absolutely shameful. But yeah, it's just not good enough, is it? I was thinking that if you look back at the games we've played this year, how many have we dominated? How many have we played where you're convinced that we're going to win? How many have we played where you think we're the better side in this game? None, in my opinion. I'm struggling. I really am struggling to take any real positives out of games so far this year, apart from the Forest game where we looked great, but that's against Notts Forest, not against the Premier League side. And this is my issue. When we play the lesser teams, I don't have any nerves because I think we'll roll these over. It's when we play the bigger sides, we just don't turn up, and that's been going on for a very, very long time, and it's got to get sorted out because it's embarrassing. It really is. We should have been going there last night going, if we get a goal early against these, we can beat these 2-3, 4-0. And we just look like, oh, well, they've scored now, we've just got to draw this and hold on, and that'll do. And that's, people can say, oh, well, you're saying that's a weak mentality. It's not, just expect more from us. With the players we've got, the personnel we've got, the system we've got, everything we've got at the minute, we should have been looking for more than a point against that Man United side last night. They're just not good enough for me. Let's get on to my best mate in midfield, Xhaka. I've been saying it to people, not online, but for the last few weeks, he's going to cost Unai his job. I don't know what he's got on him, I really don't, but he must have something on him for him to continuously back him without doing... Unai's proved other players that if they don't do enough, they don't get played. And Xhaka is the only one that it doesn't matter what he does, he continue. A bit like Mkhitaryan, how he was with him. Just continues to play him no matter what. He can drop a 2 out of 10 and he will be in the side next week. And I just don't get it. I really don't. You guys know I've been bad-mouthing him since the day he signed, pretty much. I just didn't get it. And the way he's accommodating him now, he's not good enough to play further afield than central defensive midfielder because he brings nothing to the attack. Watching it last night, the difference between him and Guendouzi or any of the other midfielders is night and day. Because all you can see, Xhaka's not a central defensive midfielder, he's a deep-lying playmaker. Right, but he doesn't really get any play going from deep. It's piss poor. Look at how uncreative we are with him as our creative midfielder. Zero. Absolutely zero. Yes, he flirts the odd nice ball around, but it's not enough to justify his selection. It really isn't. And for me, he is going to cost Unai his job. As I keep saying, if this guy keeps playing and being our main focal point in the middle of the pitch, we're not going to go anywhere. We're not. He is not good enough. He is not up to it. I said he was one of the first players that should have gone in the summer. People, did you watch Thomas Partey the other night? Ripping it up. That's the sort of player we need in the middle of the park. And I feel he's going the Sarri way, which is it's going to cost him his job, the same as I feel a big part of Sarri losing his job was playing Kante out of position to accommodate Jorginho, which is a massive faux pas in my opinion. And this guy's doing the same, to accommodate one shit player. He's playing one really good player out of position, so now we've got 2 shit players in midfield. So all we've got is in a midfield is Guendouzi. Guendouzi's good enough to run everybody's positions, but it's just piss poor. It's piss poor. Watching the game last night at half time, and I said, whip Xhaka off for Ceballos or Willock and drop Torreira back to central defensive midfielder, and we'll win this game. And he did exactly what I thought he would, which is take Torreira off for Ceballos. And then we've got no defensive players in midfield at all, apart from Guendouzi, who does everything. He's got every aspect to his game, apart from pace. Just shambolic, absolutely shambolic, laughable. Again, watching the first 10 minutes, he gives the ball away twice in really important situations where he's not under any real pressure. Then the second half, that clumsy foul that he got away with, and 2 minutes later he did another one he didn't get away with. And I'm saying to my mate, he was like, he won't get away with another, and I was like, he'll have to, because he will do another shit foul because he's that stupid. He's got no brains. How he is our captain and our leader is why I just don't want to watch us anymore. I don't, because it's humiliating. And like I said, my pal to me last night saying about, yesterday morning, saying this game used to be everything to both sides. And, it was Vieira versus Keane, and what a good battle that was, Nistelrooy versus Henry, that sort of thing. And you look now and we've got Ashley Young and Xhaka as captains, and we're battling for basically who doesn't have to play Europa League qualifiers at the start of the season. It's just such a fall from grace for both. I can't imagine United fans are happy either, but just really embarrassing. I'm done with it at the minute. I really am. I'm struggling to even bother to watch games. If I wouldn't have got that ticket for free last night, I wouldn't have bothered even watching it at home. I'm going to be honest. And I hate that. Arsenal's been the main passion in my life for nearly 40 years. And I don't feel anything towards us at the moment. I felt nothing last year, and a little bit came back when Unai came in, and it's waning again. It's that little bit that I got back in the confidence I felt with him coming in and all the changes. He's now disappearing. And I don't know if all the personnel is going to really cover up, all the cracks. I don't know if it is going to paper over the cracks. And I don't know if I want it to paper over the cracks. Do I want somebody else to come in? Because we've got the personnel now, we've got the players. You look at Xhaka, and for me, if you just get rid of him and get somebody better, and another central defensive midfielder to join in with Saliba next year, I'd rate us. But at the minute, I'm really struggling. Xhaka, he gets a 5 for me. I know some of you will say that's harsh. That shot last night from McTominay, and I know there's been big debates this morning, did he duck, did he not? I don't think he ducked particularly, but just watch it. It's not the most convincing effort of, I'm your captain, your leader. And people will moan saying, well, that's not what a captain and leader should do. Yes, it is, in my opinion. I want somebody as like a Tony Adams or a John Terry as my captain that puts his face in front of a ball, because that's what I'd do for Arsenal. Because I love Arsenal. I love Arsenal more than I love my face. And that's what a captain should be. It's club overall anything. And you know, just like I say, who headers the ball like that? Not even looking at it, regardless of whether the deflection took it away from him. Who headers a ball like that? Who tries to block? That's the one thing they tell you as a kid. Don't header a ball like that, flat onto the top of your noggin. You know, that's real fucking playground shit. And I just thought it was embarrassing just watching that replay over and over and just seeing him sort of going, wincing, trying to get out of the way with his head down. He's just a fucking embarrassment to me, this guy. And I'm never going to change my opinion on him. I don't care what he does. It's never going to change. He's not good enough for Arsenal Football Club. You know, the excuses people are still making for him just upset me even more. How anybody is still defending this guy. You know, the whole captain situation has made me laugh with Unai. You know, we don't know how much truth there is to it, but what sort of manager that's good at his job is asking his players who they think should be captain? You know, would Fergie ever do that? You know, the best he's ever been in this league. Could you imagine him walking in going, I'm not man enough to make this decision, I want you lot to take the hit for me? Fucking no chance. Yeah, and I thought it was embarrassing listening to players talk about him. Oh, he's a great guy to have in the changing rooms. You know, none of them mentioned him on pitch. They all mentioned about him off pitch, and I thought, well, let's keep him in the fucking changing room then as some sort of motivational guru, if that's what he's good at, because he's not good at football. So why are we using him on the pitch? I'm going to get off it because this is why I've not been on Twitter much, guys, because my Xhaka rants are just going to continue until the guy is fucking gone from this club. And that's where I feel like I'm at the minute. When I said to you guys with Welbeck the other year, I just will not watch an Arsenal match with that guy on the pitch because he's shit. And I'm pretty much the same now about Xhaka. If he starts, I'm just not watching because it's not worth it to me. Because I know I'll just get fucked off for 90 minutes. You know, I'd rather push pins up my Japs eye for 90 minutes than watch this guy play football, and I would have way more fun, honestly. I'd rather get that sting when I piss than watch this guy because it makes my eyes sting worse. It's just shit. Let's go on to the positives. Well, let's not get on to positives yet. Torreira, just playing out of position. You know, I had to cry fucking laughing last night. That chance he fluffed in the box. And I'm watching it and I'm going, is this Unai's way of playing? We've got Aubameyang crossing the ball in for Torreira. How the fuck does that work? You know, and that's the problem with the system. It's just Torreira is ending up in Ramsey positions, Willock position, you know, that central attacking midfielder that's roaming into the box late and walking onto shots and balls and things, and that's never going to be good. It's never going to be good. You know, even if Xhaka is going to play, just swap him with Torreira at least. You know, come on, fuck's sake. Yeah, Unai, I'm just not on board with you at the moment, mate. You are not flavour of the month in my house. You really aren't. Really disappointed. And Torreira, he's looking all right, but it's just not his bag, is it? We might as well play him up front at the minute where he's playing him because it's just totally pointless. Yeah, don't get it. Don't understand. Would love an explanation from the manager how he thinks things are working at the minute. I'd love his explanation of why he's doing what he's doing in the midfield because it makes no sense to me. Absolutely not. You know, I'd get it if results were positive, and all the results are fairly positive. The way we're playing is diabolical. It's fucking shambolic. It is shit. It is shit to watch. Like I say, watching us against that United team last night, we're struggling to carve out 10 chances. It's not good enough. That's the team last night. You know, 10 years ago, we'd have routed that United side. We'd have absolutely routed them. Not good enough. So Torreira gets a 6 from me because he just wasn't in the game at all, really. Complete waste of his talent, accommodating that absolute fucking donut. So I'm not going to ride him. Just pointless. Guendo, close to man of the match for me, if not man of the match. 1 or 2 standouts for me. Just all action. If you want to see what captain material is, look at this kid at the age of 20. Definite future captain if he stays, no two ways about it. Definite leader. And he leads by example. He doesn't just stand finger fucking pointing. Look at that breakaway by United in the second half. He was our deepest defender, Guendouzi, and he made a really brilliant headed clearance over the goal. And then watch his reaction. He turned around and he was like, fucking hell, the fuck am I the only one? And you know, that's what we need in a captain. Someone who leads by example. And Xhaka is the opposite of that. He's great at the pointing and the gesturing. But what is he doing to suggest that you would listen to him? You know, if I was on the pitch and Xhaka's going to me, come on, mate, fucking put. I'd be like, me pull my finger out. Look, you big useless fucking cunt. Sort your act out, you shit, mate. Don't fling shit when you live in a glass house yourself. And that is that guy all over for me. I'd be amazed if any of the players actually respected him. Somebody pulled me on it and said, well, look at what all the players have said about him. They all respect him. What do you want players to say? Player interviews like that are the most pointless aspect of view on something you can get. Because they're not going to all go, yeah, shit, we've all wanted him gone for over a year, but the manager sticks by him. They're never going to say that, are they? Because he's club captain, whether you like him or not, you've got to respect him. So, if I was at the club, I don't want to lose getting paid 150 grand a week, because that's what they'd be paying me, because I'm good enough. You don't want to lose that, so you are going to have to sit there, swallow your tongue a little bit and go, yeah, he's good, he's a leader, he's this, he's that, The same as them quotes that people keep sending me when I badmouth him, about his mum letting him look after the house keys and all the rest of it over his older brother. And it's like any of Xhaka's great stories. The most impressive bit is the bit that he misses out, that they got robbed every fucking week because he was in charge. Just not good enough, just not good enough. And I feel sorry for Guendouzi, because with two capable midfielders next to him in midfield, we'd have a rocking fucking midfield. And at the minute we've got a shit Xhaka and a Torreira out of position, and it just doesn't work, and we're weak in the middle of the park, and I feel like it's why United got so much joy out of us yesterday. I'm looking at their midfield, and McTominay is someone I really rate, and I would swap I'd give them 20 million and Xhaka for McTominay. I really would. Much better player, much more identity to his play. You can tell what he's there for. Xhaka, I just don't get it. No good in attack, no good in defence. But he's captain, so let's keep playing him. Embarrassing, honestly. But yeah, Guendo was a 9 for me last night. The things people slated him on last year, how many chances is he giving you to slate him on that this year? That where he got caught napping on the ball isn't really happening this year. The only thing I don't like, I do like about his play, but I don't like, is his ability to just nick the ball before the tackle comes. And like I was saying to my mate last night, I'll be impressed if he gets to 25 without getting his ankle broke, or one of his ankles broke, or rolled, dislocated or whatever, just because of that. When you're just nicking the ball like that every time, it opens you up to slightly studs up last minute challenges. And he probably got 6 or 7 of them in last night. United picked up 2 or 3 yellow cards from doing it to him. It's a great attribute, but it's a very dangerous game to play. And he's someone who I don't feel like we could afford to not have in the team at the minute. A midfield without Guendouzi at the minute fills me with dread, really does. Unless it's Torreira at the base and Ceballos and Willock. Just in a more advanced roles. I've been saying it from last year, we need a central defensive midfielder and 2 box-to-boxes just up and down in front, and we would be a completely different side. We've not got that, so I'm not going to go on about it. But yeah, Guendouzi is one of the leading lights at the minute. So one of the only reasons I'm still managing to keep some love towards the club, I really am. Pepe, piss poor. I'm not going to hammer him because he's new to the setup, and he does those little things and you go, when this guy's on it, it's going to be fucking great. But at the moment, with him finding his feet, he doesn't look fit to me either particularly. I was watching him in comparison to Saka on the other side. He's not doing anywhere near as much work. Visually, it doesn't look like it. Maybe the numbers tell you different. I'd love to see distance covered between the two. But yeah, I didn't feel like he's sort of a luxury player at the moment, and he needs to step up. He's not going to get forever because of the price we paid, but that's not his fault. He'd be the same player if we'd have paid 10 million or 200. So he's got my back. Like I say, I've seen enough where I watch him and he doesn't even touch the ball. He just throws his body shape a little bit, and he just sends people for an early bath. So I've got lots of faith in it that he'll turn it round. It's just going to take a little bit of time. And how many players has that happened to? Bergkamp, a few others. Where they don't look like shit for the first few games, and all of a sudden you go, oh, hello, I'm glad I didn't write you off, because they just step up massively and rip it up. And he's one I'm confident will turn it round. Definitely once he gets going, no two ways about it. So if you slated him saying he's shit, what have we spent all that money for? Just stop, please. But yeah, he gets a 5 last night. He just really wasn't part of anything good. He had a couple of chances that he can, chances to cross the ball and he got it all wrong, and then he had that chance where it came to in the box, and it's like, take a touch, mate, just roll it out your feet gently and then scoop it left foot, and he didn't. He went first time and he made absolute tits of it, and that just sort of summed up his game for me. 5 out of 10. Oba, where would we be without Oba? It's embarrassing, and we've got to be careful here that he doesn't start to look and go, I'm carrying this fucking team, and I'm bored of it. I'm good enough to not be in a team where I have to carry him. I can be in a team where we're all carrying us. It's not unrealistic to think he could play for a PSG, a Bayern, a Barca, Real Madrid. He's one of the world's best strikers, one of the world's most prolific. Been there, done it, got the t-shirt. And to be mopping around with us for a 6th place fucking playoff, he should leave. If he's got anything about himself. And I honestly think he will be looking at it like that. I do. He's got that age now where he can't just keep wasting seasons hoping we'll get better. So I think we've got to be very careful. I really do. Because we can't afford to lose him. I am somebody who said at the start of the season, if we could get 80 million for him, sell him. And I do realise that would be very big. But you've got to look at it in other ways than just on the pitch. Like I said, all right, he gets 30 goals a year. Well, if you can bring 2 players in with 80 million that get 10 to 15 a year, well, you're not missing a Aubameyang, are you? And you're much better as an overall squad. And although it's brilliant that he's carrying us at the minute, what happens if he gets out? That's my issue with having one absolutely brilliant player carrying everybody, is if he just gets a niggle and he misses a few games, we're fucked. And someone else would have to step up massively. Lacquer out, then you're looking at the kids, Balogun, Martinelli, I don't know who he'd look to play up front after that. Obviously Eddie's gone, so that's not an option. It's interesting, but he gets a 7.5 for me. He'd have got a 6 if it wasn't for the goal, but just how deadly is he? That decision, I was fucking raging last night, I'm not going to lie. I outed myself as an Arsenal fan in the Stretford end last night, because I was like, that's a fucking embarrassing decision from the linesman. He was right on the mark with it. To get that wrong, to me, that's where he should be reffing in the fucking conference next week. Linesman running the line in the conference, because that is a really bad mistake. It wasn't even close. It's a good 2 yards onside. And this is my issue with VAR, is it's not the computer system that's flawless. It's the use of it, and the officials still aren't, they're inept, they're not good enough at the job. And now they're leaning on VAR rather than doing any decisions themselves. Just after that, the decision where they gave United a corner and it was clear that James kicked it off his own foot, and United whipped that corner and it nearly got buried in the top corner, and I was like, how can this be happening? How have VAR not just looked at that and gone, right, it's a goal kick, not a corner? I don't get how they're using VAR at the minute. It makes absolutely no sense to me. The sort of cherry picking incidents to deal with, it ruins the flow of the game. It doesn't really work. Just shit. And look at that without VAR last night. We come away from that 1-0 getting mugged off by a goal that's 2 metres onside. And it wasn't just an Arsenal thing either. I'd have been pissed off even if that was United and that happened to them last night, because it's not. I want us to win in the fairest way, and decisions like that are fucking embarrassing. They're just not good enough. I don't care who it's for, it's not on. It really isn't, and the standard needs to, whoever, the FA, whoever it is, they need to look into it, because the standard of officiating is really shit at the moment. It's really not good at all. It's really not like, just the bookings last night, there was absolutely no consistency with it at all. Chambers got booked early for a clumsy tackle, and then United did one 10 minutes later with Lingard, and he gets nothing for it. And then later in the game, Lingard did another, and it should have been a second yellow when he was off. So the game-changing decisions, games change on these things, and luckily for us, we've got Oba, and he's just such a lethal gunman. Just that half chance last night, he's through. What a beautiful little finish it was, just that little flick scoop with his left foot, great. And he rescues us again. And like I say, you look at taking him out the equation, and then we'd be sort of bottom 6 without his goals. Realistically, we'd be bottom 6, and then who's backing U9 saying he's doing a good job? These are the things hinge on people. It's all good and well saying, well, we're 4th, we played 3 tricky away games, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, but have we convinced in any of them? if we get everybody back and we still keep playing like this, are you going to still support Unai? Because I won't be able to. I won't. And like I say, I'm just not seeing enough in our play. We created nothing last night. That's a poor United side. Let's not get it wrong. That is a real poor United side. And we struggled. We really struggled to carve out any opportunities. There's not really any free-flowing football. There's just, like I say, Harry Semedo was on Unai from the start, saying he wasn't convinced by him, this, that, and I was like, Harry, man, give him a chance. But now I'm sort of on Harry's side, where he's been living in 2020 and I've been living in 2015 when it comes to Unai. I expected a lot more from him. Blind faith, I've kept backing him, and now I'm going, Harry was right, I think. I'm not sure what Unai brings to the party, I'm really not. And he's massively underwhelming me. I think we should be doing way better with what we've got at the minute. You can say we haven't got our full defence, but Chambers, Kolasinac, Luiz, Socrates and Leno in net should be good enough to get something out of that United side. Should be good enough to get something out of Watford. It should be good enough when we're not 2-0 down to Aston Villa. It's not good enough, guys. I'm sorry, I'm just not going to keep making excuses for the guy. You guys know I'll call a spade a spade. I don't know if that's politically correct to say that anymore, but that's how I am, and I'm not afraid to give my opinion whether I get lambasted for it or not, and it's just not fucking good enough. It's really not. Saka, last one. Dynamite, absolute dynamite. If you're watching that game as an alien last night, you'd think he was the guy that's cost us $72 million or $80 million or whatever it is. Not Nicholas Peck, you'd think he's the young 17-year-old coming through, wouldn't you? Really impressed by him. He's somebody I expected nothing from this year. Just hoped he'd get a little look in Carabao games, and it seems like he might be our Iwobi this year that we lean on that left-hand side. And he really impressed me. The way he uses his body to get out of tight marking situations, he's absolutely fucking dynamite at it, which is something I hadn't really noticed in his game. I knew he was pacey and he had tricks, but his energy and his work rate and his ability to shift his weight and ghost players is fucking brilliant. And there was a few situations last night where he was, the ball's rolled into his feet and he's tightly marked. And rather than just sort of holding off the player, he's just rolling his shoulders, the ball out of his feet, and he's gone. And he's leaving good players for dead. All right, you can laugh and you can joke about Ashley Young, but he's not a mug. Ashley Young is not a mug. And he made him look a bit of a dick last night. Daniel James a bit the same. He impressed me. I rate him. I think he's decent. And I felt very similar towards Saka going the other way for us. I thought, yeah, there's a lot to come from this lad. And there's something about the way he plays that leaves me feeling. Look at his little through ball for Aubameyang for the goal. It wasn't the hardest pass to play, but he nailed it. It was perfectly paced, perfectly weighted, right in the right place. And I think if that was Iwobi, would have Iwobi played that ball that well? I'm not convinced. I've seen a few bits about people talking about Iwobi. I've been watching him for Everton. He's just the exact same player we got rid of. Does a little bit of magic, but overall it's not quite good enough. I had to laugh at people going on about Ramsey the other day. All of a sudden Ramsey plays well and everyone's going, we shouldn't have got rid of him. Guys, we know Aaron Ramsey's capable of playing well one game. How often does he do it 10 games in a row, 20 games a season, 30 games a season? He doesn't. That's why we let him go. That's why there wasn't a big hoorah about keeping him and we weren't going to bend over backwards, because he's not consistent enough. It's much easier in Italy where his lack of pace won't show up as much. He will do all right in Italy, but he's not for 1 minute do I want the fucker back. Not in a million years. I'd much rather keep watching Joe Willock than have Aaron Ramsey back. That's just my personal opinion. Ozil. People talking about Ozil last night, and Unai basically just said, yeah, just didn't pick him. I picked the team I picked, and I picked the squad I picked, and he's not in it. And people that again saying this is Unai. This is something I don't blame him for, Ozil not playing. Because when he has played, has he been brilliant? No. So why would he keep fucking picking him? He's not doing enough. Stop making excuses for the guy. He's not doing enough. Really underwhelming for me. Because I think if Mesut had anything about him, anytime he gets picked, he'll go, I'll show you, you silly, greasy Spanish fuck. Watch this. And then he gets all of us back on side. If Ozil starts dropping 9 and 10 out of 10s every time he plays, none of us are not going to defend him. We're all going to go, he should be playing. But the way he plays when he does play, it's not looking good enough. It's not good enough. We should have got rid of him. We should have got rid of him because this is a pointless scenario. Having somebody like him on so much money, fucking cutting the oranges at half time, it's embarrassing. And it's going to be the same again this year by the look of it. He's not going to do enough to deserve being selected, so he's going to sit out in the cold, earning a fucking fortune for it, and giving us nothing in return. It's just a shit situation. It's one of the only real shit situations I think there's still at the club at the minute. He's Ozil and Xhaka. They're the two players now for me that have to go. That's $500,000 a week. We're just whizzing down the fucking drain. That could be much better spent. Not good enough. Really not good enough. And I'm at the point at the minute where, bring your Olayinka and fucking Smith Rowe in and fuck them Xhaka and Ozil off. I'd much rather watch those two kids play. I really would. But yeah, that was it for last night. I'm not going to rate the players that came on because I don't think they were really on for long enough. Willock changed the game when he came on, just his pace, his energy and his ability to win the ball back. Again, another player making Xhaka look like a fucking non-entity. Ceballos came on, exactly the same. Like I say, that's what all that needed to happen for me at half time was just get Xhaka off, drop Torreira deep and whip on Ceballos or Willock. Why do I keep saying Willock? Willock. Whip one of those two on for Xhaka and drop Torreira deep and have two box-to-box midfielders, and he didn't, and I just thought we won't get fuck out of this game. Said it to me, mate, I guarantee we won't go on and win this game because you're just playing with 10 men all the time. It's just not good enough. Two guys late picking up knocks. My heart sank when I saw Chambers start holding the back of his quad, and then Kolasinac was saying he was done, and I thought, just as we're getting players back, we're losing them again. We're getting no stronger. Well, we're getting slightly stronger in personnel, but as a squad, we're not getting any stronger. It needs sorting out. But yeah, it's just not great at the minute, is it, guys? Not great. Not really particularly brilliant to watch. We're in fourth and we're doing all right, but it's not papering over the cracks for me at the moment. It really isn't. And it's going back to the Wenger thing where, do I want us to finish fourth? Playing like this, no, because I don't really see a point. Playing like this in the Champions League, we'd be out of it in the first round and back in the Europa again. It is, the style of play isn't there. It's not, and that's the most disappointing thing I'm finding. That and Xhaka consistently playing are the two things that are making me not want to watch Arsenal at the minute, and I've not been. That's why I've not done any videos in a few weeks, because I haven't been watching the games. I've had no interest in them at all. So that's it, guys. Not really anything else to talk about. I'm sorry I've not been about, but I've just had better things to do, guys. Twitter isn't the be all and end all for me. It really isn't. It's just something I do when I've got a bit of spare time. I've not had any spare time, so I've not been doing Twitter. It's that simple. But thank you for you guys who've messaged and said, "Are you all right? Is your mum all right?" I appreciate it. And I might be dark for a few more weeks again now, because I'm just not looking forward to watching us play. I'm really not. I'm not sure what the next game is. Is it Standard Liège in the Europa? I'm sure we'll probably win, but whether we play in a way that appeases me, I doubt it. So, just a bit of a Debbie Downer at the minute, guys. So I don't want to hand that on to you guys. You don't need anybody else negative in your life. If you want negative people in your life, just go and watch fucking Arsenal Fan TV or Sunny Unfiltered or whatever it is. You guys know I always try and be positive, but there's just not a lot of reasons at the minute, apart from, again, last night, Project Youth 1, Seniors 0, and that's been the theme for me this season. I got hammered last year, at the end of last year, and I said, just play the kids, just play them. I don't care if we get beat 9-0, they'll show more intent than these fucking overpaid idiots. And I feel they're still the same this year. We've probably got Willock and Guendouzi on half the wages Xhaka's on, and they're producing twice as much. It's just the economics of our squad just don't work for me at the minute either. There's just not a lot working for me. I've just had enough. So that's it. End of rant. Hope you guys are all right. Take it easy. Signing out.